Welcome
Welcome
to Sleep Drunk.
to Sleep Drunk, where I've become a 9-to-5 slave. So, Alex, how's your week been? Or how have you been since last recording?
Pretty good.
Movement still doing
we'll hear
good?
a lot about that in Discussion Avenue.
Yes,
I have
we
a
will.
whole bunch of stuff to say.
I'm
but
sure yes, I recall some of it. So,
Yeah.
why not give us a rundown of what we're going to be doing for this episode?
So the first thing we're going to go over is we're going to talk about food. We're going to talk about food we like, food we don't like, our
Cooking.
experiences with cooking, and since I've been an employee for a restaurant, I can share my experiences with that. Then we'll take a stroll down Discussion Avenue. And then from there, we'll go over some YouTube community reviews, specifically men's fashion.
Yeah,
So
which we'll
stay
talk
tuned
about
for
more
that.
a bit later. That one's going to be a bit interesting. So,
Yes.
So, all right, let's see what we have on the food. So, Alex, why don't I let you start this off? What kind of food do you like?
So I like pretty much everything, honestly. Probably my favorite is just a good, juicy filet mignon. I mean,
I think everyone...
how
Actually,
can you go wrong?
my preferred cut is ribeye, if I'm going to be straight up. I like ribeye more than filet.
I'm not sure what exactly they are, but my dad picks up these just fantastic cuts from Sam's Club, like top of the line stuff.
Nice.
Grills it perfectly. It's nice and thick. He puts a nice seasoning on it. It's just smacking.
Look, man, I'm in India. Beef is illegal, and I'm getting physically aroused. It's a problem.
And then just another like a meal that, I mean, it's really good, and I do like it, but it's just like a typical, I guess, meal that we would have around here, but it's one of my favorites and something that we usually would have around my birthday or something. It's called Hungarian goulash. I don't probably believe that it's Hungarian.
I mean,
but
it's funny. When I saw it on the show notes, I found it oddly particular because it seems like it's a very specific thing. I mean, goulash is good. I like goulash, but...
It's just some fucking recipe where you have some, like, egg noodles and cut up stew beef that you have, like, seasoned like so. And I don't know.
Probably carrots and celery, I'm guessing, because...
Yeah, carrots and celery and mushrooms.
European
and
food.
it has, like, a really good, like, broth to it.
Okay.
It's just a good dish.
Yeah, just like when I looked at the show notes, because the way we set it up is that I wrote in my bit and just left a blank space for Alex. I saw at the top goulash, and I was like, I wasn't expecting that, but I'm sure it's good. I'm sure it's great.
Yeah, it's just a good basic all-around dish.
Yeah, I do like I like goulash. See, for me, I'm very eclectic on almost all things with my life, with my food. Like, I like to have a really wide variety of food, and so it's hard for you to pin down like a favorite or like a set of favorites. I really like steak. Like I said, a ribeye is, in my opinion, the king of cuts because you get that beefy flavor. Oh man, ribeye. I need like an anti-Viagra right now.
So how's India?
Actually, interesting. I had a beef substitute burger today. It was a mutton burger from Burger King. It was good. Got a Whopper double. Solid. Yeah.
I didn't think about that when you said that you were getting Burger King delivery. I was just sort of like, Burger King delivery, because he says everything's
Whopper.
delivery over there.
Mutton Whopper. Yep, they would deliver literally everything. One of the few benefits of living in New Delhi, you want literally anything, they will deliver to you, except for Pizza Hut in my fucking area. Like, I'm sorry, I fucking love Indian Pizza Hut. I love it. All right, get like when they stuff the crust, instead of putting cheese, they put a chicken sausage, and it's amazing. But they stopped delivering to my area, and I don't know why. It's really made me upset because I had to have Domino's, which just isn't as good. Like, their sauce sucks, and so like their crust is like okay at best. Like, I want that Pizza Hut good. And
Pizza
I
Hut
can't
here
get
is
it.
pretty lame, at least in my area. I don't know if it's different in India.
No, in my part of the States too, it's not great. Although I'll be honest, right? Pizza places in the States have been going downhill.
Yeah, we don't we used to order from pizza places all the time in our area, but they're all just bad. Like, we don't order out anymore.
It's like Domino's, like it is here. Their sauce is way too sweet, and their crust is boring. Papa John's is arguably racist. Actually, I think pizza-wise, they honestly have the best
Papa's
pizza.
no longer in the house. R.I.P. Papa.
If I'm being honest, Pizza, like Domino's or Papa John's probably has the best pizza. Yeah, so like I was saying, honestly, like out of the delivery pizzas, Papa John's is the best. But like,
yeah, local pizzerias definitely.
Yeah.
Take
Like,
the
if you're
cake
in the Northern
America.
Virginia area, Paisanos and Pomodoros both have fantastic pizza. Like, Pomodoros is not nearly as like big, but paisanos are so good. As somebody who like lived in Nova for a long time, paisanos are so good. But yeah, US pizza delivery's been going downhill. But Indian pizza delivery, like you think it would be bad, but it's like, man, that sausage crust is so good. Like half the time, I'll get the box, it'll be cut like disgustingly. It'll be like one piece that is like an isosceles triangle. But it's all worth it because that crust.
Sausage crust?
Yeah, like they put the sausage in the crust. It's not an actual sausage. It's not pork sausage. It's like a chicken sausage.
Okay.
Yeah, no. It's actually surprisingly hard to get pork, like stuff pizza with pork on in India. Because like Hindus can eat pork, and the Hindu religion is the majority religion, but it's still just kind of uncommon. And I think it's just because pigs aren't that popular. Like pork as a meat isn't that popular here. But yeah.
Cows are popular, but like not that way.
No, they are not. No, they are not. They're very popular, and they're very popular in other ways.
That's what I'm getting at. They're just kind of everywhere.
Yeah. Like in the streets, like I'm driving to go pick my brother up from school today. I'll get into that later in discussion. There's a cow on the road. Like saw some monkeys the other day when I went to go pick my dad up from work.
It's always fun.
Yep, but I've seen monkey nut doing some drip.
Ooh. That's
I saw it.
All right.
Will iTunes like that? No. But here we are.
That is an image. So, on the topic of pizza, one of my few disliked foods is actually specifically pepperoni pizza. I just don't believe that pepperonis make a good pizza topping.
Really?
I like, pretty much anything else on my pizza except screw anchovies. That is just disgusting.
Okay, then here's the question.
Try that.
Pineapples.
I mean, I'm not going to knock it, but like, it's not my go-to. Like I never put pineapples on my pizza, but like I respect people that put pineapples on their pizza. That's fine. I'm not gonna.
I don't mind it. I just don't.
I don't think you're disgusting for wanting pineapples on your pizza. I wouldn't get it on mine.
Yeah. No, I totally get that.
Now, if you get anchovies on your pizza, you're a different kind of thing. You're not human.
See, here's the thing. I like pineapples on pizza, but I don't have it regularly. Like I have it maybe once every year or so, if that.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But you're saying pepperoni, right?
Yeah, and then pepperoni, I just like, obviously it's a very common thing, so like I can't just act like everyone's stupid for wanting it on their pizza, but I just feel like it's just sort of unnecessary. Like it just makes the pizza worse. I don't feel like it adds anything to the pizza. See, when it's all cooked and dried up, it's just bad. See,
having had non-pork pepperoni pizzas before, like you can get chicken pepperoni and like beef, or not. In Bangladesh, you can get beef pepperoni. I kind of get that. I mean, it's just not exactly the same, but I feel like it just looks like it needs to be cut a bit thicker, and it'll be better. Like I feel like from what I've seen, conventional pizza pepperoni looks to be like cut way too thin, and I think that might be the problem with it.
I don't know. I'm just not about that. I just leave it off. I'll take sausage on my pizza. That's fine. Chicken is great. Mushrooms, olives. I'll do the whole bit, but not pepperoni.
Okay. Well, see, in terms of foods I dislike, I don't think I have any foods that I Okay, no, I do have one. Okras are disgusting. Okras are
fine.
Disgusting. I hate okra so much.
I hate anything wrong with okra.
The fried okra is really good. The slime. I hate the slime. It makes me feel like an alien is like putting some things in my throat that don't need to be going in there. I really dislike okra. That's like one of the few foods I just refuse to eat. It just feels nasty. Like I hate okras. I do. Like even like dried. I had like fried okra chips. Like they're meant to be like chips, but they're made of okras. I couldn't stand those because they'd rehydrate my mouth. I'm like, oh, there's like alien splooge in my mouth. I don't like that. I don't do okras. I just don't. That's my one thing. I don't do okras.
Monkey drip. Monkey drip.
It's like you got the monkey drip on the outside and the alien drip on the inside. It's like, it's a bad day, you know? Like my worst nightmare is like being stuck at this one intersection in Delhi. I'm actually not sure what part of the city it's in, but there's monkeys there with okras in my mouth and just watching them go at it in public. It's a sight, yeah.
Some bonobos.
We could do a whole episode on Delhi stories.
I saw some sort of like service or product somewhere that was named bonobos, and I just thought, yeah, that's probably not a good name for that.
I think they were a clothing brand. Because I've heard of them.
Yeah, it was. It was a Walmart clothing brand. Walmart brands. Let me confirm this.
I think they have that out here too. Actually, hold on.
bonobos?
Oh yeah, no. It's an e-commerce driven apparel subsidiary of Walmart, headquartered in New York City, that designs and sells men's clothing. The store has a specific emphasis on the sale of men's suits, trousers, denim, shirts, short swimwear, outerwear, and accessories. Founded by Andy Dunn.
We'll put this in the notes.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I literally just Googled it, but yeah, we'll throw it in the Wikipedia page. This is not sponsored. That should be some interesting talks about sponsorship later in the episode, but. Now, let's move on to, I guess, the part of the episode is going to be a little bit split up, in a sense. Let's talk about cooking, and I guess a bit later, Alex, your experience in the restaurant industry may be in tandem. So
I don't know exactly what I'm going to say about that, but we'll get there when it comes.
I mean, I know you said you don't cook much, right?
No, I don't cook really at all.
Also, I haven't worked in the restaurant industry, so I think we balance it out. Because I really enjoy cooking. I've been doing it for... I think since I was around 7 or 8, and I was like, I want to make an egg, so I made an egg, and that's literally what started it. I just wanted to make an egg, so I made an egg, and since then, like, I've been trying to cook.
I can cook an egg if that's the worst thing is cooking. Like, I've cooked many eggs in my time.
That's what started me like getting interested into it, and then over time, I got more and more interested. And I'm gonna save all the details of like what I cook and my philosophies and all blah blah blah. But I have one, I think, semi-hot take, like a lukewarm take, that from what I've heard only elicits reactions from like people that I know, like I guess for lack of a better term, like white people in the States. I think I avoid using recipes whenever possible. I think they're bad. I don't think recipes are good.
Yeah, and no, I think recipes are a bit unnecessary.
Good. Because like I will give a few caveats. I will use a recipe if I'm making something for the very first time, or if I'm baking, because I'm god awful at baking. But I mean, just like a dash of that is fine, because it's not really, it doesn't need to be that specific. Yeah, and I also think like it's more important to develop skills and understandings of how food works than to learn specific recipes, because then they become crutches. So it's like
this all makes sense to me. Like I understand that. I've just never taken the time to do this myself.
Yeah, no, of course.
Like,
I think
I'm not completely
time
unaware,
that takes a lot of investment.
I'm like Michael or something, where I just believe everything wrong.
But here's the thing, I actually have some family friends that are like very old school, like I mean, it's not in a bad way, they're just like what you'd expect of like a regular suburban family. And I guess not the mother-in-law, she's a grandmother now, but like the woman of the house, she cannot survive without her recipe books. Like she just can't. And I'm like, I don't want that. I want to be able to make things by like understanding them and just like throwing them together. And I think like this is something that's especially like, the thing is, the weird in like, especially in like Asia, I find it's weird if you use recipes, especially in South Asia. Like it's considered weird if you use a recipe most of the time. Like you're expected, if you cook, to like either know someone who can cook that can guide you, or know how to cook. Like I think a good example is this traditional like, I guess, snack from Bangladesh called piaju, which means like something onions. But it's basically like you take some onions and some lentils and you like blend them and you fry them, and it's really good. And it's normally had during Ramadan. And every single like house I've been to make them differently. And I think it's cool because it's like everyone has their own personality, their own touch. I personally think, no offense to everyone else, my grand aunt has the best piaju in the world, and you cannot prove otherwise. It's fantastic. But it's like every single household makes it their own special way, and it's distinctly different.
Drop the mic. Did you just request that the audience does not at you on Twitter at SleepdrunkPC?
I mean, you can't at me at SleepdrunkPC if you want to debate this.
Don't add us at SleepdrunkPC.
Yeah, add us at SleepdrunkPC.
Don't
or on
add
Instagram.
us at SleepdrunkPC.
Yeah. I mean, feel like I said, don't add us at SleepdrunkPC. You know, I'm willing to have this discussion, but you will be wrong because my granddaughter makes the best piaju, and that's just how it is. But like for a description of what it is, if you don't know, it's like it's basically it's almost like a crisp. It's somewhere between like a French fry and like a cake almost. It's weird to describe, but it's like crispy on the outside. It's only a little bit spicy. Not even like a cake, or like the other thing is like another Bengali food that I compare it to.
That is just a poor description of
it is. It's like, okay, it's kind of like a latke. If you're from Europe and you know what a latke is, it's very similar to a latke. It's hard to describe it, honestly. It's like, well, what you do, so you take some like lentils, like some lentil beans, you take some onions, you take a few spices, you like mix it all together and mash it up, and then you make these little like balls and you fry them, right? And like you deep fry them, they become really crispy and have a nice soft inside and are spiced really well. It's just like a very snacky
Fry
kind of
my
food.
balls.
I will fry your balls.
Please do. I'm dying for it. Well, that was an odd segment. Moving along.
Crisp.
Okay. We've been here long enough.
Well, my thoughts on cooking aside, just as a summary, I think more people should learn how to cook. It's a good skill, and it's worth.
Definitely. I wish I knew how. Just haven't ever bothered.
I think a lot of it's just kind of like jumping in and realizing that you will make some mistakes and you will make a lot of crappy dishes. And like, for example, pro tip: don't
kind of like
don't
watching
heat up
Ryan
hot sauce.
fry that steak.
Oof, yes. I mean, it looked all right in the end.
It was very rare.
I like my meat on the rare side, so.
No, it was very rare. Like, he needed to turn the heat down and let it sit longer.
Oof. Oh, that's bad. That's bad. See,
you know, it happens. Like, it's fine. Like,
it's a learning process.
It honestly, I gotta give him. It wasn't that bad for a first attempt of a fry
That's good.
steak.
I think that's good. I think that's all you can ask for.
Yeah.
Realistically. Although, pro tip, don't heat up hot sauce because you're basically going to pepper spray yourself. I'm someone that likes my food quite spicy. I'm a spicy person. I love spicy food. And like once I was cooking and I took some Nando's extra hot peri peri sauce, just threw it on in there, and I was slightly blinded. Because all the chili oil was vaporized.
Dude.
It was painful. So, painful cooking, on the topic of such, Alex, what's it like working in the restaurant industry?
Well, I don't really know where I'm supposed to go with this. Like, do I talk about... I guess just a general thing to know that isn't necessarily bad. It's just something that surprises a lot of people. Most of the food that you are served in a restaurant, unless it's like obviously like a meat dish or something that would have to be grilled or fried right then, a lot of it is just microwaved. But it's not. It's where it comes from that matters, right? So like. Maybe earlier in the day when the restaurants were slow, some of the chefs and kitchen workers will be back prepping the food.
Yeah, of course.
And then save it for later, so they'll go throw it in the walk-in freezers and stuff. And then when it needs to be cooked up for the customer, they'll go get a bag of it, throw it in the microwave, nuke it for a few seconds, and put it on your plate.
I mean, honestly, like I kind of get that, and I think a lot of it's also how long it's been made. Like, if they make something the same day, it's probably fine. If you're using like some week-old fries,
at least my restaurant. My restaurant is a very, very clean restaurant. We've never had health code violations. That is just not something that happens there. We put very conservative expiration dates on all of our in-house made food. So. I assume that other restaurants do the same, but I don't know that. I've heard some weird things about restaurants before. I
mean, I've seen some, like, I forgot what I've seen Hell's Kitchen. I see some bad stuff.
Like, there's a restaurant in my area that people just say that the cooks in the kitchen, they smoke. It's like, what?
Oh, I mean, it adds a smoky flavor to the meats.
Yeah, it's like Mike.
You want some smoked brisket? There you go.
Michael's grandma.
Oh, that's cold. That's cold. That's cold. He's not even here to defend her.
I don't think he would.
He wouldn't, but regardless, we should give him the chance. But for the sake of the listeners, what roles did you play? Like, what was your job in the restaurant you worked at?
Okay, so I am a host, so basically I greet you when you come in, I put you on the wait list if necessary, and I show you to your table, tell you who your server is going to be, and walk away. Or if you happen to catch me as I'm walking past and ask me for stuff, I'll, probably do it for you unless I can't.
Okay.
Unless you get too out of hand, in which I'll just, go greet your server and be like, take care of that.
Excuse me, I would like my husband on the table over there, known as the next one over. He'd like a steak done medium rare. Actually, no, make that medium rare with pasta, but
I'm
not
gonna go get your server. But if it's something simple, like is something that you would normally feel comfortable asking a host, like, yo, I need some barbecue sauce. I'll go into the kitchen and get you a ramekin and put some barbecue sauce in it.
All right, so what would you say is the upper bound of like requests?
Of what?
Like, if let's say I was to walk up to you in your restaurant, I was some random individual, what would be the upper bound? Yeah, as a host, like what would be like, okay, no, go talk to your server. Like, where would you like, What would you not do, I guess?
Well, I wouldn't tell them to go talk to their server.
Yeah,
like,
no,
you
of
can
course,
ask me
but, like-
anything, but if it's not my job, like really not my job,
Yeah.
then I'll just go get the server.
Yeah,
and
that's
be
fair.
like, hey, your table said this.
But for example, if like I asked for a glass of water.
I'd go get them a glass of water.
Okay.
Now, if it was a paid drink, I'd go get them the drink, like not an alcoholic drink.
Yeah, of course,
I
'cause,
wasn't
like,
at the time
you're not allowed
allowed
to
to
serve.
do that.
Yeah.
I
Coke
can
or
now,
something.
but also I would still have to go through the server because like ringing it in.
Yeah, of course. That's what I
to
figured.
have
That's what I
the bar
figured
make
happened.
it. Yeah. But if it's a water, I'll just go get it because water's
Yeah.
free. And if it's a paid drink, I'll go get it and let the server know to put it on their bill if they haven't already.
Okay.
Like if it's a refill, that's fine because refills are unlimited. And also, I actually forgot, I worked as a food runner, which is where I basically just sit around in the kitchen and wait for dishes to be ready to run to the table. Because when it's really busy, servers can't be doing that because they have like, you know, on a Friday or Saturday night, they might have 4 tables.
Yeah, of course.
And they're tending to them all, and you know you need somebody to run your food. And as a part of that, sometimes when the kitchen gets slower, you are actually taking over expo, which is when you kind of like you're sort of not bossing the cooks around, but like you're keeping everything in line, making sure the cooks are getting everything up on time. You're looking through the tickets, making sure everything's being made in a timely fashion and everything will be ready. And you keep track of how many minutes your lead ticket is on, which generally in a restaurant is, if it goes any beyond 30 minutes, at least in our restaurant, it's like, hey, we need to be, you know, pushing this ticket. Or 20 is like a pretty average good time.
So it's kind of like you're like a supervisor almost.
Yeah, and then also like right before the food goes out, like if it's all sitting in the window, then I it's your job to know what garnishes go on it, and we have this whole tray underneath the window where I reach with my gloves and put garnishes on all the food. And I have in my notes here to mention stupid health laws, and it's just one really that comes to mind, and there's probably infinite, but the one in particular is when I'm food runner, but I have to take over his expo, which really isn't my job, but like I'm doing it anyway. I'm expected to kind of do both, which is annoying because I have to have gloves on to do garnish and like put the extra little toppings on people's foods. And then when I run it out, I have to take my gloves off because when I get back, I'm not, well, like I can't leave the kitchen and then come back into the kitchen and use the same gloves. Like if I didn't touch anything else, I just sat the plate down on their table. I didn't even touch the table. Just sat the plate down on the table. Why should I have to change my gloves? Stupid.
Yeah. Although, question, have you ever seen anyone just kind of munch on some garnishes at the garnish spot? Just like take a pinch, you know?
Well, there isn't really
Hasn't
anything that
been
you
done.
can just like munch on, like unless you wanted to go, you know, basically eat grass and have some
I mean,
parsley.
have you seen anyone go at like
Or-
just go at some basil? Like I'm talking like beast some oregano.
We actually don't have oregano at the garnish
Oh, really?
stand. We just use parsley,
Okay.
parsley, cilantro, basil, red peppers,
You can eat
feta
red
cheese,
peppers.
Parmesan cheese. There's more stuff. I'm not sure what all's there. It's just that kind of stuff. Like nothing you would just beast there. Like
But have you seen it happen?
There is the chip box. Like if you order chips, they all come out of that box. I that's like a habit of mine. If the manager's like looking the other way that's on Expo, I'll just walk past, grab a chip, and be on my way.
Watch your manager just kind of be an avid Sleep Drunk fan and realize it's you and just like fire you 3 times
I feel like
over.
they're not. Also, they wouldn't care because like it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, he's like, Alex, with
Or
the
like
actual
a lot
fuck,
of times
I'm
I'll just
sending you to
ask
prison.
if I can just steal a roll from the window because our rolls are really good, and then just kind of eat one.
Okay, that's fair.
They just don't like it when employees like take a whole bowl of rolls
That's
to
fair,
the back and
'cause
serve
it's
early
like,
and just kind of
chill
beast
out.
them.
So I can imagine, like, if you're working hard, you might get a little bit peckish, you know?
Yeah.
Have a quick bite, dinner rush, you know, just
Definitely,
like
yeah.
run to make
because
orders.
We're working over at dinner, so we haven't eaten
Yeah.
dinner, so we're all starving and serving everybody food, which doesn't help.
Yeah. Although, Alex, you forget that I think a key role of any restaurant staff is that, let's say I'm a soccer mom and my food is bad, it's your fault. I don't care, it's your
Well,
fault,
it's not
Alex.
my fault.
No, it is. I'm a soccer mom.
I've dealt
Okay,
with a
I'm
lot
entitled.
of people.
I
Just
am
think that
addicted to
because
alcohol.
you're the manager, you are like the god, right? So like I can tell someone something and they'll be like, "Go get your manager." And I've had somebody do this before, and I'm just like, the manager is going to say the same thing that I am, and they're very busy. And the person insisted. So I'm like, you know what? Whatever. I
No,
go
Alex,
ask
you
the
don't
manager,
understand.
and they're
The
like,
manager's supposed to give me free
they
things, and
just
it's your
agreed with
fault.
me. They're like, tell them that that's the way it is. And I'm like, the manager's too busy to even come out here right now, but I like they just agreed with me. It's the way it is. Sorry.
No, see, Alex, what the manager is supposed to do is supposed to give me free things and then fire you for messing up my food because you clearly cooked it by hand.
Or
yes,
no.
that is exactly what happened.
Oh yeah, that's
I'm
something
gonna get
that's
my
really annoying
minivan
too,
and
is
write
when
about
guests,
it on Facebook.
When guests get like pissy with the servers over problems with their food that aren't the server's problem. It's like, that's the kitchen, so you can quit yelling at me.
I mean, I think it's one of those things where, like, I'm not defending it, but I can kind of understand why people do it because, like, the server is the point of contact.
Okay, it depends on how bad the problem is. But even then, if it isn't that person directly's problem, I don't think it's that. I don't think it's your job to shoot the messenger. I feel like you should just have some patience.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I feel like it's worth telling, like, sort of like, hey, you know, this thing is wrong with my food. Is there something I can do with it? Like, don't be a
That's
dick
acceptable.
about it.
But
just be like, hey,
when they
like,
start raising their voice
I got
and
the wrong
getting
order or
visibly
something.
upset, and they start threatening your tip and stupid crap like that, that's dumb.
Yeah, because it's not their fault. It's the cook's
exactly.
fault. But that being said,
the restaurant
that's
industry
what you
is
call the
a
manager,
lot like retail.
and the
in that
manager
way.
gives you free food. That's what happens. You call the manager, you get free food. It's guaranteed.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the restaurant industry. Well, okay, if it's like an honest our problem thing, managers will almost always give you like a considerable comp, which is like they take
I think that's fair. That's fair. That's totally respectable.
But like if it's
like,
not our problem, then you're not getting anything.
Like
It's
you
just
don't like
pissy.
nugget ice, you want cube ice.
You roll up and we told you that you had a call ahead, and then you roll up and think you had a reservation, and you're mad when there's no reservation and it's just a call ahead. It's like, yeah, no.
Actually, for the uninformed, don't explain that because I feel like that's something that a lot of people might get mixed up.
Call ahead, it works differently at my restaurant than it does at most restaurants. So at my restaurant, it's more of a reservation than it is elsewhere. Usually elsewhere, it's just like a, hey, I'm gonna come, so like put me on the wait or something.
Okay.
But at my restaurant, we put it in the computer as a reservation, but we don't treat it as such. We just like give you a considerable amount of priority over the wait because you let us know like maybe a day or multiple days or a week in advance or something that you were going to be there at that specific time. And a lot of people call and they act all like ticked off when there's not a time slot available. It's like, you can call as early as you want and put a call ahead in. It's just you have to do, there's only one every 15-minute time slot.
Okay.
But it's not a reservation. Like, we're not going to hold a table for you because that's bad for business.
Okay, so I guess the only difference would be like a call ahead is like, hey, I'm coming, where a reservation is, hey, hold this table for me.
Hold this table, yes.
Okay. So
And
one's like
most other restaurants, a call ahead is like a, hey, put me on the wait list even though I'm not there, and then you won't have to wait as long at the restaurant.
Okay. That's, I think, it's an important distinction. I think a lot of people get that mixed up.
Yeah.
Like, actually, until recently, I didn't know that either until you explained that to me. Also, because most of the time we just kind of show up and hope that there's space.
Hey, my trashy neighbors are revving engines very loudly. Yay.
Amen, brother. I think another important part of food prep is, getting it made quickly. And I think the slap chops are useful for that. And I think in the following the ways of the man who invented the slap chop, who marketed the slap chop, I think it's time we beat the prostitute of chat who's biting the tongue of debate in a dingy motel room on Discussion Avenue. As for those of you who don't know, Vince Offer, the man who's known for marketing the ShamWow, the slap chop, and many other things, was arrested in Miami for beating up a prostitute who he claimed bit his tongue.
Just
what a
absolute
guy.
Unit. What a guy.
Vince Offer.
What an A1 man. Well, anyway, tying into the last little bit of conversation there on Sunday, I made a trip down to Wegmans, none other than Wegmans, to go get me some slapping bagels because they're just totally
Them
worth it.
boys slap.
You should go to the Wegmans bakery and go get you some bagels.
Them boys slap.
Then I went and got back on my work schedule, so maybe I'll have some work stories to give you all on the podcast coming up here soon. Then Monday we went out and had a picnic at a state park that's like a little over an hour away out in the middle of nowhere. Very nice, very pleasant. Went and picked up my brother and dad that had been on a fishing trip, and then we had some fried chicken. And Wednesday I had my first day of summer classes, taking Calc 3, here at the local community college, and I actually saw a dude in that class that had Calc 2 with Kevin Wolf with me, which was interesting. Let's see, Thursday. So I had a package. Here's the whole bit that I was talking about earlier juicy. In the podcast. Yes, this is some juicy content. So Wednesday, I had some packages coming in for like an early birthday present for me because my parents just got me some stuff that I wanted. It's a lot of electronic stuff mostly. And one of my packages was to be delivered Wednesday, and it was ordered Tuesday, so that was really good. Well, we had the tree service over Wednesday, and I was wondering, like, did they just kind of like give up on our address because there's the tree service probably blocking the driveway? They did that the last time the tree service was here. They didn't. They just sort of it was marked as delivered. So I went and looked around our whole property, and it wasn't there. So I'm like, okay, so guess it has gone to a neighbor. So I called UPS, which is usually the best delivery service about this. Like, for some reason, we have this chronic problem about delivery services, even the US mail delivering to other people. And we have 3 things at the end of our driveway that say our address number. Our mailbox says the number. We have a reflective green sign nailed to the mailbox post that says our number, very large. And we also have another exact copy of that reflective sign on another post across the driveway. So it's pretty damn hard to miss our driveway. Like, I'm sorry if you miss our driveway and you're delivering packages, you are an idiot.
I mean, to be fair, the U.S. Postal Service, so my house is at the start of a cul-de-sac, so it is number 1. There's a nice large 1, very visible on the side of my mailbox. I got many copies of Teen Vogue that were meant to go to my neighbor, whose number was not 1. She was on like the actual street, so it was some long number that wasn't 1, and yet I got them. So U.S. Postal Service, you guys got to shape up.
Yeah. So we've had a suspicion that a lot of these packages that we have that just sort of disappear are going to our less than perfect neighbors that I'm sure I've mentioned before. But, no hard proof. And it's even happened with U.S. mail before, too, and we've never seen it again, which is a federal crime. But this time, I called up UPS and told them that we had a lost package, what we usually do with the delivery service. And UPS, not that we're in any way affiliated or anything, but I want to give them a good word because they are above average. They actually, seem to give a shit about what they're doing. So I called them up, they forwarded me to the local distribution center, and a guy called me back, and he's like, yeah, I spoke to the delivery driver, and he said, he gave me a full description of what the delivery driver said that the house looked like, and I'm like, yep, that is a perfect description of our subpar trashy neighbors next door.
Yeah.
And he said, all right, great, so I'll send a memo to the delivery driver for tomorrow to go check that house. So, come yesterday, Thursday, the 30th, the UPS driver shows up. He's got a big box for me and another package. And I ask him, so have you gone to the house down there for the misdelivered package? And he's like, I guess it wasn't the same guy, even though it was yet another new guy on the route, which the distribution center told me it was a new guy on the route. I don't know. He's like, which house is it? And I point him to the one. And he's like, all right, well, if they give me the package, then I'll be right back. And of course he was not right back, because every time that somebody goes to try to get the package back, they all down there at that house, they just go inside and act like nobody's home. Nobody answers. We never see the package again. That's what usually just happens. Well, after the guy left and never came back, I thought, well, this is stupid and this is happening way too much. I called the local sheriff's office, and a person answered. I gave them a description of the complaint, and they're like, okay, well, I'll have a deputy call you back. So I had a very nice deputy call me back and said that she was going to go roll up at the house and check on what's happening down there. And they gave some stupid excuse like, well, actually, the deputy was down there for a good, 11 minutes, I think I timed. I was listening to the radio and I was watching them all roll up, and there was actually 2. So another one just kind of followed. I guess he was bored. I don't know. And they said that the the people said the homeowners weren't there. They were at work. None of them have a job, which is, you know, the obvious bullshit. And that when they got home, they were going to go check because they got 2 packages yesterday and they didn't get any further or look at them other than throw them on the kitchen table.
That's
it's like, why couldn't you go look now? You know, the police are kind of in your driveway asking about a package. Why couldn't you just go look and see if it's there?
Say like, hey, this isn't my name. This is my neighbor's name. Maybe it's not my package.
Yeah, and it's like I always think it's just like the delivery truck rolls up to their house, even if they're trying to go get another package. They all, you know, hide inside. And they're like, ooh, look, more free. But the deputy said that they were going to like talk to them after the homeowners got back from air quotes work and see about getting the package up here. And then they said that the deputy will come up here and give me my package if they can get it. Well, fast forward to this morning at about 11, I got a call from the same deputy, and she asked me if I had the package up here. She said that she spoke to them late last night and that they said something about they were going to get home and see if they had it, and if they did, bring it up here, or something stupid, I don't know. And I went outside, looked at my porch, looked out at my garage, no package, nowhere, of course. So I don't know where it's going to go from there, but we have some package thief neighbors, which is always fun.
All right. What did the Moon Men have to say about that? Did they pay it all, the Moon Men? How are they feeling about that?
Well, they're just kind of happy that we're finally doing something about the problem.
That's good. My week has actually, all things have been relatively chill. I started an internship, which was pretty interesting. I don't want to go into it too much, but I have become a 9-to-5 slave, looking at spreadsheets and analyzing data, which is interesting, but the 9-to-5
crunch
life...
those numbers too? Are you going to submit the reports?
Yep. I'm taking notes on spreadsheets and listening to the Breakfast Club while I do it, because like I just put in my headphones and listen to some music, some podcasts, and just kind of like take notes on data. Like, hey, look, maize and wheat. Cool. And that's the extent of it so far. I think I'm going to be doing more stuff. Like, I'm probably going to be doing some, like, econometrics and some, like, grid analysis, which is going to be interesting. But this week's just kind of been chill, looking at data, understanding data. And that's been the majority of my week. I was fasting for most of it. I skipped my first day. My first day on the internship, I decided not to fast because I wanted to, like, go in focused and ready to go. And then today I decided not to because I wasn't feeling super great in the morning. So I thought it might be better to. Let's see. Today, I went and visited my old high school, actually. I decided to work from home today, because today's Friday. So I just did some more spreadsheet reading at home, and then took notes, and went to pick my brother up from school. Saw some of my old teachers, which was really nice. I gave my wonderful, rotund econ teacher a hug, which was great. I love that man. Saw my old band teacher. That was nice.
Rotund.
Yeah, he's like 6'6", and rotund. He's a large man.
He's an absolute unit.
He's not even thick. He is just large. Like, I can imagine his BMI isn't going to be super out there just because he's super tall. But he's a big guy. I love him. But yeah. And also, Alex, I have cut 2 updates for you, actually, which I think you find interesting. One, I think from your favorite anime that we mentioned before.
Oh, great!
So, third time mentioning. I know you're a huge fan of it.
To hearing about it, yeah.
So, I've been catching up. So, for context, there's now multiple teacher-student couples that are like occurring throughout the series.
This is very illegal.
Yeah, no, actually, I don't think it's illegal, but it's ethically compromised. I think teachers in Japan are a lot younger.
Maybe it's not illegal, but it's not allowed.
Oh yeah, it's very unethical. It's very unethical. And I'll talk about it a little bit. There's an interesting point regarding that. But so there's now, I think, 3 teacher-student couples that have formed. There is the first one. The first one's like homie, right? And then some random freshmen. First off, it's a fucking freshman. That's messed up.
Yeah, that's very messed up.
To be fair, I think it's more of like a sister younger brother thing, because the teacher... I'll explain one by one. So the first one, a few things happen. I think a real Deus Ex occurred. So we get an update, right? There's a school like fair going on, right? It's a common thing in Japanese schools. They have like a fair day where like they do the whole school. They have a bunch of fun things, right? And one of the teachers set up an escape room, right? And so the second couple, right, they're not a couple, but they're just kind of booling, they're hanging out, right? They decide to go into the escape room, right? Just have to find the key, okay? But so what happens is that the male is tall, he finds the key, but he drops it. The key, I shit you not, goes behind the teacher, goes down, opens her bra from inside her shirt, and then lands in her nether regions. I have it's
No.
it is like a certain amount I will allow. It's like it's a show. They have to have some funny contrive, but that defies the laws of physics. The key is not heavy. It's not like it's like a huge ass skeleton key. That key is not heavy enough to do that. Like it just does not have enough weight to do what it did.
No.
And also the teacher was handcuffed. And those are the handcuff keys. These were the keys to handcuffs. It's like they're already it's a very small key. Because handcuff keys are tiny. Yeah, like as I drew the line, like that's just not possible. That defies the laws of physics. And so, long story short, the dude had to put his hands in some places, and the teacher actually was like, "Oh, I got a thing for you," and he was like, "Ah," she was like, "Ah," she ran out, and then this is the funny bit, okay? He so of course the student was just like, "Oh, my teacher just confessed she's into me," and he's thinking about like, "Oh, is this okay?" And he looks around, and he's like, "Oh well, everyone else is doing it, might as well." That was actually his rationale. Because he sees his homie with like his teacher, and he sees the other freshman with like the teacher who's like they have like a more platonic relationship, and his response was, "I kid you not, everyone else is doing it." It's like,
holy
I mean, I guess in Rome, do like the Romans in Northern Colombia, donkeys, right?
Nope.
In that school in Japan,
don't do that.
Date your teacher. Sore spot for you, Alex.
Moving on.
Wait, no, I have a little more.
Nope. No, you
actually,
don't.
okay, no, this is unrelated. It's just an interesting tech thing I thought you might want to know about.
Okay.
The other thing in the show was like they have a bit of like family or brother sister type stuff. Things that are a little raunchy, not that bad, but that's that for that section. But so if you don't know, WWDC is coming up, the Worldwide Developers Conference for Apple. Like it's their big, here's all of our not iPhone stuff conference, right? And there's rumors for a really interesting change in their code base, which I think you might find interesting. The project's called Marzipan, and what the Apple is trying to do is basically create a unified code base for Mac development, iPad development, and eventually iPhone development, where like you code the app once and it works on everything. Well, I was wondering what your take on that would be.
Maybe a version of Windows RT that'll actually work.
Yeah. And like when you think about it, I feel like this is honestly just good for everyone.
Yeah, it's good for developers.
Yeah, and, because like when you think about it,
I really hope that actually does work and comes through, unlike Windows RT, because developing software, especially in mainstream languages like C++, it's a real pain in the ass because you have to basically code a version for every different operating system that it runs on, because the libraries and stuff for every different operating system are all different, which is why Python and Java are taking over nowadays. But there's still much to be desired in those languages.
In addition, coding apps, I know for at least iOS has I think it's a streamlined version of C++ called Swift. I'm not sure exactly. I think it's based on something else, but they do have their own like micro language. But yeah, you have to develop you have to develop for everything.
Yeah.
And so I think this is good for app makers overall, because like when you think about it, now we have a team of software engineers, right? Let's say I want to make a calendar app, right? I want it to be on Android, Windows, Mac, and both iOS systems. I have to have a team for every single one, right? Like I have to have a Mac team, I have to have an Android team, I have to have a Windows team. Yeah, and now it's like the base is going to be reduced. So like hopefully this will just lead to maybe in the next 5 years just better apps. Like apps in general will get better
because instead of spending more time developing them for every individual operating system, they can spend more time making it better.
Yeah, so that's something I find interesting. So hopefully they're going to be talking about that this year, WWDC. And hopefully they'll also give us a system-wide dark mode for us.
And also hopefully that'll help other apps, specifically OmniFocus, bring their apps from, bring them to other platforms. Maybe they'll have the additional time.
Yeah. Yeah. I see you're taking a page out of Cortex, haven't you? OmniFocus.
I've wanted to try out at least OmniFocus for a while because they really recommend it and it sounds like a great app, but I don't have any Apple devices.
These things actually, they actually talk about OmniFocus on this recent episode, and you might want to look at Todoist, which according to them, it's basically OmniFocus.
I've seen it. I've
but
also
it's been,
seen TickTick, which is one that Marcus Brownlee uses.
Okay.
And they're all paid, and I can't justify paying for an app or being like having all that stuff shoved in my face unless it's like really good, and I just don't know if they're really good. Like I know OmniFocus is really good, so I might, if it's reasonable, be willing to pay for it.
I mean,
but
I've heard
for
Todoist
now,
is very good.
Microsoft To Do,
really good.
it's I was resistant to try it because it was Microsoft, and generally Microsoft apps are weird at best, but it's actually really good. Okay. And it syncs across platforms and stuff. Like I have the native Windows app that they have on the Windows App Store, and I have the Google Play app, and it works very well. It has all the features that I need, which is good.
See, I've been playing around with a few different apps. I was running Asana for a bit, and I tried using To Do, like the number 2 and Do, and I honestly really like it, and I would pay for it, but I'm hesitant on going all in on it just because it's a one-time purchase, not a subscription, which has me worried.
See, that would make me more willing to do it because the subscription model with these to-do apps seems absolutely insane. Like, I'm not going to pay you $50 for a year of a to-do app.
Well, here's the thing, right? It's like, my worry with that is that in a few years, where's the app going to be? Like, there's a certain number
but
of like
it depends on how much I'm dropping at one point. Like, how much is the initial fee?
Yeah. Because I think for To Do it's only like $5, which honestly,
$5. That's not bad.
But
that's like a month of some of these subscription apps. So as long as it lasts longer than a month, that's fine.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I'm just worried that like, will the development team move on to something else, and now my app is dead in the water? Like, because to keep supporting it, they have to pay people, right? And like To Do apps have a very narrow market, all things considered. Like the vast majority of people are just gonna like use whatever app they have built it on their phone, and it'll be fine. And so I just feel like with subscriptions, it's like, yes, I'm giving you money, but this subscription is guaranteeing, unless your name is Evernote, that the service is going to keep existing and will keep supplying you with the service. Like they'll keep updating it, keep the servers live, keep optimizing for the new operating systems. Because there's a lot of apps where like it's a one-time purchase, and then they stop updating it.
Even then, maybe they should make their fees more reasonable, because I simply cannot afford to pay $30 to $50 per year for a to-do app. That seems insane.
Yeah, that is on the higher end. That is on the pricey side. That is on the pricey side. Although from what I've heard, like OmniFocus is kind of around there, and their team puts in a lot of work. Like that team works hard.
I don't have any guarantee that they do that. I've never seen any reviews for them.
That's fair.
OmniFocus I've heard great things about, so maybe. But these other ones, I haven't seen shit for them.
That's fair.
I'm not going to put down OmniFocus money for an app that might not compare.
That's fair. They should just offer trials. Like, come on, offer a trial. It's not that hard.
I mean, they have like the free version, and then they just shove the premium version in your face the whole time you're using it, which is actually one of my major complaints with Asana.
Yeah. And also, Asana doesn't have a native desktop app, which kind of annoys me.
That too. And the fact that it's not really built for what we wanted to use it for. Yeah. To find out. It's made for team collaboration. Yeah. It's like a Slack, but for to do, which is nice, but not what I need it to do.
Yeah. So does that about wrap up Discussion Avenue?
I had one more thing I wanted to mention, even though the episode is getting a bit long. So basically, while I was talking about having a scanner while I was listening to the police with my ordeal that's going on up here at my house, I was using my cheap radio, and I was just thinking to myself, this is such a useful device. Like, I think everyone should have one of those cheap ham radios, but before you have one, I think you should also have a ham license, but obviously that requires effort. At the very least, have one of these radios, know how to use it, and just like, I don't know, program some walkie-talkie channels, or program your local police into it if you can.
Also imagine, like, if you're traveling out somewhere, there'll be like less than optimal cell reception. You'll be able to get in contact
it's a great thing for like safety things. Even if you don't have a ham license, it is actually legal to use ham frequencies to contact someone to get help in an emergency situation.
Yeah, so that's a good call. I agree with that. And I've been meaning to get a ham license for a while. I just haven't. I might see if I can do that this summer. Is that about it?
All right, so moving on into the last topic of discussion, which is our YouTube community review on men's fashion.
So for a bit of context, this is an idea I've had stewing for actually a pretty long time. And it's this notion of, like, people like to review specific things on YouTube. I'm thinking about, like, reviewing a community as a whole. Because if we look at it, different communities act very differently. Like, a good example is, like, the beauty community. For those of you who follow even the slightest bit of YouTube news, has been an absolute shit show lately. And everyone's a snake, and people are evil. And so I think it's just interesting to look at things in this much broader sense. And so I decided to go ahead and pick the men's fashion community because I think it's an interesting community, but also one that I have a good bit of familiarity with. So for some context, the way I got into men's fashion YouTube was, I think just about a year and a half ago, I had my hair cut short for the first time in a good few years. Like for mostly all of middle school, most of high school, I had long hair, right? So I had it cut short for the first time, and I was like, how do I deal with this? I don't know what to do. So I do some Googling, and I find a YouTuber I'll mention a little later, Alpha M, I'll talk about him a bit more. So I find him, and that kind of gets the ball rolling. So I look at these other channels, and I like look at all these trends. And so what I've done is I've picked a set of YouTubers which I think represent a pretty good spectrum of what the community is like. And I just have a few comments on them. And then at the end, I'll probably just summarize what I think about the community as a whole. And of course, Alex will be chiming in as we go. And so the YouTubers I have picked to look at are Teaching Men's Fashion, run by Jose, gestures way too much as Zuniga. Alpha M, run by Aaron, the greasy Italian Marino. He called himself that. He called himself a greasy Italian. Real Man, Real Style, run by Antonio, download my free ebook, Centeno. And lastly, The Gentleman's Gazette, run by Sven Raphael, better the old way Schneider. I was going to put a comment about World War II, but a little bit less than sensitive. So
what about his new twink presenter?
Oh yeah, Preston. I mean, he's okay. Sven's the one who's in charge of it all. Like, he's the boss. He actually made a joke about how, like, he underpays Preston, and Preston's trying to buy a house. Like, but so I think a few general traits. I think first off, like, no hate is intended here. I'll just mention this real quick. I think I genuinely watch all of these YouTubers, and I think they all do good work. And also a few honorable mentions actually before I jump in. Modest Man, he's cool. I don't watch him that much. Beard Brand, they're good too, but they're more of a beard channel. And Bluemon, which is more of a hair channel, but they're still kind of in that sphere. And so without further ado, I think the first YouTuber I mentioned is Teaching Men's Fashion. And I think he falls on this spectrum in the community of age appeal. And I think that's like the biggest differentiator, because Teaching Men's Fashion appeals very much to the youngest section of the audience. Like, I'm talking people from like maybe 16 to their like early mid-20s, right? And people in that mindset. And so, like, for example, he will talk about things like, oh, what are the spring trends at H&M, or how to wear and pair Jordans and things like that. And he generally appeals to a much younger audience, and also like his aesthetic too. Like, he has a quiff. We have almost the exact same hair and beard, and it makes me a little bit upset because that was unintentional. We have almost the exact same hair and the exact same beard. There'll be links to all their channels in the description, so you can of course go check them out. And my one comment, if you heard with my nickname for him, this man gestures so much. God damn it. Like, he goes out of his way to gesture. Like, he'll just be flinging his arms around. He'll be like talking about his sponsor, which also talk about that in a little bit, but he'll be talking about his sponsor.
Makes me think of
flailing
someone
his arms like all over the place. Like, he gestures so much. Some of like me and my friends meme on him constantly for gesturing too much.
Is that you?
And speaking of sponsors, actually, it's an interesting feature with this community. Everyone's a fucking shill. Like, goddamn, every single video has a sponsor. And to their credit, most of the time they're pretty solid sponsors, all things considered. It's not like, hey, check out this free mobile game, which, by the way, this episode of Sleepdrunk is brought to you by Age of Epic Quest Dragons Legends Mobile Free. It is a epic multiplayer free, what does that say, RPG with good PvP combat and very epic much PvP gameplay. It has every great features such as combat, puzzles, and microtransactions. So if you
Wait,
download
no,
the app,
you're not reading the checklist they gave us.
And-
You have to talk about some of your favorite features.
Oh, yeah,
you have
right.
to give a
I really
personal
liked the
anecdote regarding
dragons.
the game, and then you have to show up at the developers headquarters for some smoking of the peen.
Yes. Well, I mean, I really like the epic collectible dragons and microtransactions. So if you download Age of Epic Free Dragons mobile and use the code EATMY, you get to pay double the price on microtransactions. So use that code to support us. But, like, they don't have sponsors like that, which I will give them credit for. Like, their sponsors tend to be things like skincare companies, like lifestyle brands like Movement, even though I have my opinions on Movement, but like it's
I know.
it's
God.
that's a topic for another time. That is a topic for another time. But like they tend to be better sponsors, which I'll give them credit for. And also a lot of times it's like they're like almost, I think all of the YouTubers I mentioned except for one have their own brand. And so they'll also promote those a lot. Like for Teaching Men's Fashion, it's Hudson and Maine, which is some weak. Get the fuck out of here, Jose, with your Hudson and Maine.
Is it a Target brand?
No, it's like his own brand that
No,
he started.
I'm just making fun of it. It sounds like something I'd see at Target.
I mean, to be fair, I think he actually has a clothing line which I've heard is very good. Like it's just called Essentials, and it's just like basic clothes that are made very, very well. And I've heard they're good, but they're sold out all the time, so I can't get them. But I haven't given a verdict. But the reason I say that is because I am loyal to the next YouTuber's brand for hair care product, Aaron Marino, Alpha M, owner of Pete and Pedro, which was funded by Shark Tank. Like he went on Shark Tank and got that funded. So like it's good, and I use it every day. Use the Pete and Pedro putty. I love it, and I feel like Alpha has. I hate his name. I hate calling him Alpha, but Alpha has, I think, the broadest appeal. Like he will appeal from everyone to like someone from someone who's like 17 to someone who's like in their 40s or 50s. He has a super broad appeal, and he was actually one of the pioneers of the genre. I think he was one of, if not the first YouTube channel to really have a specific focus on men's fashion and lifestyle.
I actually
And
remember watching a Shark Tank bit on TV.
Yeah, and like I think he does. One things I like about it is that he's a very genuine person. And I say it's because he actually recently got into a little bit of YouTube drama where top Shagger commentary channel Memulus, who I actually also watched, he also makes good stuff, made just kind of a joking like video on him, talking about like his like he made a video called like Alpha made a video called How to Be More Alpha, and he's clowning on it, which rightly so. And I think the way Aaron handled it was, I think, the best response I've ever seen, like legitimately. Like he opens the video saying how like he's honest that he's not great at taking criticism, like it's something that legitimately affects him, and he has trouble just shrugging it off, but that he found that the video that Memulus made was really well humored, it was funny, and it was just a joke, and he liked it. And in the end, he made fun of himself too. And I think that's about as good as you can take it. Like that's a very well taken response. And I think it shows that he's a straight up real guy. And I think even on Shark Tank, he talked about how one of the reasons like he wouldn't sell a certain thing to the sharks was that he needed to maintain his authenticity. And I think that is important because he's a very authentic, real person that makes some great hair product. I gotta say, it's what I use. Like, no, I kind of bought it as a joke, and I'm on my third tub of it. It's really good. Yeah, Pete and Pedro. I highly recommend it. So, our next YouTuber that I'm going to be talking about is Antonio Centeno of Real Men Real Style, who I think his appeal is much more like, I'm going to say late 30s into your 40s, like people who are like kind of in the workforce, getting into their things, maybe getting a bit higher up. And if I'm going to be honest, he's bland. I'm sorry, he's a bland guy. He's just kind of like Alpha, but watered down and a little more put together. Like Alpha will pop in and be like, gentlemen, today I'll teach you how to be a sex beast to get them spicy senoritas. That's like a running meme where like freaking Antonio will come and be like, gentlemen, Antonio here. Today are my top 5 leather colors or something. And also, this dude is the shilliest of the shills. Like, I'll give you an example, okay? So he made a few videos on dental care, which I
mean,
think
hey,
is
at least
important.
his free ebook is free.
Yeah. No, okay, first off...
Unless it's not, which I don't know.
No, I think first off, like, he always promotes things like... I think I remember within videos that were posted within a few months of each other, he promoted his free ebook, his upcoming webinar, and his Facebook page. So this dude knows how to internet, man. He's got a webinar. He's got a whole
You have
ass
a webinar. I
webinar.
feel like you don't know how to internet.
Nah, man, he's clearly hip. He knows what it's like. He's surfed the digital waves. But like I was saying, I think a great example is that he made a few videos on dental care. Okay.
Is this a 90s instructional video?
Nah, man, I'm just gonna have a sip of my surge real quick. Give me a second. But like I was saying, he made a series of videos on dental care, right? And the first one was sponsored by Quip, and so it's like, get the Quip. It's like you gotta have an electric toothbrush. It's really good. It's like it's important, keep you clean. I'm like, okay, fair. Like he stands by that. Next video sponsored by Tao Clean, right? Another electric toothbrush brand. It's like, you gotta have an electric toothbrush. This one has like a special case, keeps it sanitized because like if you keep your toothbrush in the bathroom, there's shit on it, which is actually true. Like, there's particles of fecal coliform on toothbrush that are kept in the bathroom. So yeah, and then in a later video, he says, yeah, guys, you don't need an electric toothbrush. I got this manual toothbrush from my dentist. It works just fine. You don't need anything fancy. Like, come on, man. At least be consistent. If you're gonna promote the electric toothbrush, stick with it. Like,
that's shiesty.
Because then you just come off as disingenuous. And it's a shame because I think he seems like a good guy. And like, but it's just that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Is just also he's greasier than the greasy Italian, man. He has to change his lighting because it shows his sheen. Like he needs some like softer lights. Like he has to get some sheen, especially in his earlier. No hate, once again, no hate. I actually do watch his videos. He makes some good points, like in some stuff, and
not about his electric toothbrush.
Not about. I'm not gonna take dental advice from him. Also, he's not a dentist. Like I go to my dentist for dental advice because it's their job.
Right. Yeah.
Like don't take dental.
Your dentist is also sponsored.
Like, don't. It's like WebMD. Don't use WebMD. Die, you can dose yourself with
sponsored by Quip.
Actually, being Tao Clean and manual toothbrushes. And so our last YouTuber from this like session that I'm going to mention is the Gentleman's Gazette, Sven Raphael Schneider, Alex's favorite person.
Okay, I can appreciate him as a person. He seems like a decent dude, but his beliefs on fashion are extreme. Like, dude, chill out.
And here's the thing: I think he does appeal to a much older and a much more narrow demographic. Well, I think for him, it's just that he's honed in on one very tight, very specific demographic, and they love his content. And I think in that demographic, he does really well. Like in the world of vintage clothing, like vintage suits, vintage hats, he's the best. Like he makes the best content on that. Like if you want to know the difference between an action back and why you can't wear an action back with peak lapels, he's the guy. He'll tell you. Like it's very specific, very granular stuff, but I think once again that's just his context and that is his arena, and he does that well, and that's it. Because he's been trying to make more like videos to appeal to younger people. Like he reviewed Canada Goose jackets. It's like, come on, man. I want to know. Like I go to his channel to learn about like trench coats and like the different kinds of trench coats, or like how gloves should fit, because that kind of stuff I find it interesting. I like dressing nicely every now and then, so I like to know that stuff. But yeah, he's actually the least shilly. Also, he has his own brand of stuff like called Fort Belvedere, where he makes like cufflinks and like handkerchiefs, and from what I've heard, they're actually very, very high quality and for the quality reasonably priced, but they're expensive. Like goddamn, they're expensive. I'm not trying to pay $112 for a tie.
That's insane. Okay, yeah.
Like I am not at a place in my life where I'm going to spend $112
From what I have seen, though,
on
I
a
can
tie.
agree with you, though. He is not very shilly.
Yes, like he's the least shilly. He's not Antonio. God damn it, Antonio.
Can I download Sven Schneider's free book?
Nah, he has a blog though. He has a blog. Read his blog, and also his site is very well made. His site is beautiful. He has a really well done site. I don't know who made it, but it's good. Like he has a quality site, and so I think some of the general trends of the community as a whole is that first off there is the shilling, right? There's the channel brands, but also they tend to have very high production quality. Like their production quality is outstanding in most cases. Like
I feel like it's kind of a necessary investment if you're going to be talking about fashion. Like you have to look the part if people are going to be taking advice from you.
Of course, but also things like lighting, things like graphic design, things just like I don't know, but like there's just something about it where you can tell like the average production quality for the community is a lot higher. Because I guess it is in part because of the nature of the content, but also like I guess they just get more investment, or maybe so that they just have better CPMs than other. For those who know, CPM is like a measure for influencer sponsorship. It stands for like cost per mil, which means cost per thousand, oddly enough. But so I'm not sure what it is, but like I think in the aggregate, their stuff is very high quality.
Mil means thousand.
Yeah, in French. It's French?
And Spanish. And
Spanish?
also like millennium, thousand.
Yeah.
It's just like a Latin thing, I think.
Yeah, because like everything comes from Latin. And in addition, they tend to be quite clickbaity, with the exception of the Gentleman's Gazette. Gentleman's Gazette is not clickbaity, he's quite classy, cool guy. Once again, like he's not just kind of like top 10 fashion Fortnite, like it's not that. But so they tend to be on the clickbaitier side. There'll be stuff like 5 signs that she's into you, or these things are throwing off your whole look. I think Jose Zuniga has been doing a series of videos on like pickup, and I don't know, man. I think it's a step in the wrong direction. And also, I think all across the board, which I find interesting, all of them talk about the same thing. They all say like emphasize quality when possible. Like if you,
I just saw your note for Jose Zuniga at the bottom. 4213.
yeah, I forgot to mention that. So Jose, he once explained his bacne problem in a video while promoting a facial cleanser. It's like, guys, I have bacne. It's really bad. I use this facial cleanser on my back. Forgot to mention that, but yeah, that's a thing. I mean, the man's got bacne.
Oh.
The man's got
It's just
bacne.
funny. I'm sorry.
The man's got bacne. And you know, he owns it. And I think actually that ties in well. All of them, I think they are in general quite encouraging. They're quite real. I think, for example, Alpha said in his response to Memulus that like, what is Alpha is you, like who you are, however you dress that makes you happy and makes you feel good. That is like who you should be. You should be proud of who you are and be comfortable in your own skin. And I think that's a like, especially something like men's, like from a fashion community, from fashion which is inherently a bit superficial. I think it's a really good positive message, and I think that's something that like we need more of just in general.
Yeah, that is a good message.
That's a good wrapping up note, but I have one other thing I want to say. Let's talk a lot about quality, which I think is good. Buy quality when you can. Like they do say, if you can afford it, buy quality. And I agree with that. Like Sven and his quality, you have to buy quality garments that'll stand the test of time and have a lot of quality.
I'm gonna make you look dapper.
Yeah, dapper and not like a peasant.
Oh god.
So, Alex, based on what I've described so far, what would you say are your impressions? And if you had to pick a YouTuber out of the 4 I mentioned, who would you pick?
I feel like if I were to pick one to watch, it would probably be Alpha M. Seems like the most stand up of the people that would appeal to me. I've not seen anything other than the Gentleman's Gazette, and what I've seen of the Gentleman's Gazette, I agree it's high production quality, and it's not, he's not a bad presenter, but it just doesn't appeal to me, and
yeah, I think
believe
that's fair.
that I disagree with more stuff that he says than I should to watch the channel. So
that's fair. Yeah, like I said, I think it's a very narrow demographic.
And also, like, personally, I'm not into men's fashion enough to watch it in the first place, just obviously
that's
why
fair.
I don't.
Yeah,
but, like, if I were, I'd probably watch Alpha M.
Yeah. See, for me, that's actually who I'd pick, too. Like, I think out of them, Alpha's my favorite. And if I was saying my least favorite, I'm going to say it's Antonio. Like, I'm sorry, man.
Just like it could. Come on, man.
See, here's the thing. He makes reaction videos. He might come at us.
Ooh.
He made reaction videos.
The fact that he makes reaction videos gives him no license to come at us, dude. Don't even try.
No, but he made reaction videos to promote an event. Like that.
Was this Fire Festival?
It was menfluential.
Ooh.
Like, come on, man. But yeah, Antonio, all sorts of love. Like, he's a cool guy. His morning routine's really interesting, but like, he's my least favorite out of the 4. But my favorite would be Alpha. And so I think my final rating would be overall. I think the community is quite strong. Like, I like all those things, how they talk about, being comfortable in your own skin, being happy with who you are. But all that damn sponsoring, man, it bogs it down. Like, I get you got to pay the bills, and I'm assuming making something that high production quality is expensive, but still, God damn. It's a lot. Like,
yeah, like it's obvious. Like it's obvious for the viewer when you've gone too far into the sponsorship world.
Yeah.
Like the key is to find a balance between having enough money to continue and not shoving it in everyone's face.
yeah. And like for example, I think Alpha, if I want to list out things he's been sponsorship, let's see. He has Pete and Pedro, which is his company. Tej Hanley is his company. He's got Movement. He's Thursday Boots. He's done Chassis, which is like testicle powder. Which apparently is really good. Apparently it's the best you can do. But yeah, I think Casper he's sit on Squarespace. I think everyone has Squarespace. Everyone has Audible too. He's done, I could just keep going. There's a lot. Scentbird. I think he's done Scentbird, I'm not sure. Suit Supply, he's been sponsored by the Fifth Watches, I mentioned Movement. He has a lot of sponsors. But yeah, they gotta chill with the sponsoring. And also Jose Zuniga, stop promoting rose gold and black. No one's buying that like your jewelry. Unless you do. If you do, you are, be happy with what you wear, how you wear it. That's your fashion. That's your style. That's who you are. But
Okay, Alavi, thanks.
Rose gold and black. He'd like pull up out and be like, guys, listen, okay? Rose gold and black. I got a curated collection of jewelry that men can wear that are for you. That's curated by me. You get a discount. It's like, it's a whole thing. I think he stopped working with them actually, but some of his older videos is these really like odd reads for rose gold and black, like to buy like a little like grenade pendant. Like, I don't want your grenade pendant, man. I don't want your overpriced little bracelet with beads on it that I could buy from like a 7-Eleven. Come on, man.
Oof.
But yeah, final thoughts. Sponsored too much. Yeah. Thank you for listening to this episode of Sleep Drunk. Remember that the first person to guess the song of the day on any of our social media or via email will get a shout out in the next episode. Song of the day for last episode was Photograph by Nickelback. And y'all know there's an interesting thing about copyright, right? It's like, I think you're allowed, something becomes public domain, what is it, like 50 years after the creator's death?
50 years after the artist dies, at least in the States.
Yeah, and like, Nick, like, while the song of the day uses fair use, like every now and then thinks a little bit shicey, but you know what? Nickelback was never alive, so I think we're well within our bounds. Copyright can't kick in because Nickelback, they were like, when was the last time you met an honest to god Nickelback fan? When? Tell me. You haven't. I've met
an idiot that tried to defend Nickelback, but like, never an honest to god Nickelback fan.
Like that, that's just. I don't even want to talk about Nickelback, but the point is, they are stillborn. They're the musical equivalent.
So they've been dead for
abortion.
Infinite years, and therefore copyright is not a thing for them.
Yeah, so we're good. So in other words, all Nickelback music is public domain. Feel free to download it without paying.
Look at this graph.
Every time I do it makes me laugh.
The Sleepdrunk Podcast can be found on any of your favorite podcasting platforms, including Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and more. Also, be sure to share the show with friends and family or whoever you think would enjoy, and we'll catch you next week.
We'll catch you next week.